Hi, this is Scott Trudeau, Senior Solutions Consultant with Adobe. I'm on the education team. Today we're going to take a look at Adobe Acrobat and Adobe EchoSign and how these two great solutions from Adobe can streamline collecting signatures and your documents that you use commonly, say, in an education setting. So you're probably really familiar with Adobe Acrobat already. It's a great tool for creating PDFs, editing PDFs, distributing forms and creating forms. About 2-3 years ago, Adobe acquired a company called Adobe EchoSign, which really helps us streamline the signature workflow. So the example we'll be using today is a permission slip that you would send out with the students. And we'll keep that in mind as we explain what is Adobe EchoSign. So when you take a look at your institution, a common workflow for many people is you distribute a form, a paper-based form or a paper-based document to whoever needs to read it or sign it. They print it, they sign it in ink, they either fax it back or hand deliver it back to you. And if you take a look at a permission slip, that process is even more complicated in that you distribute it to all these different students. You don't know whether it gets crumbled up in their backpack, thrown away in the trash, it ever gets signed by mom and dad, and we hope that it gets back to the school. But these are all different document challenges across the university, whether it's HR, procurement, legal, university relations, across the institution. So if you think about all the roadblocks that can occur, whether objects are lost or they're illegible or there's all this manual routing. Again, the students just crumple it up, throw it in their backpack. There's all these manual roadblocks that we have to deal with when sending out documents and trying to get those back. So Adobe EchoSign allows us to quickly and electronically take a document, say a permission slip, route that to the appropriate people, in this case all the parents of the students in our class, quickly get those documents signed and back and do some reporting on those documents. And what I mean by reporting is we have a classroom of 30 kids, perhaps only 25 get them back. We can run a report and quickly send out reminders to those parents who have not yet sent the documents and signed those documents and routed them back to us. So EchoSign manages all this in a digital environment, and people can also sign on any device. So whether it's an Android-based device, a Windows mobile device, an iOS device, a computer, a laptop, they can sign on just about any device and get those documents quickly back to you. So the benefits of Adobe EchoSign and Acrobat are that we get this streamlined document process where you can use Acrobat to create the form. You can upload that form within the EchoSign environment. You can track and manage those documents and get the signatures back and send, if we need to, in reminders to those people who have not yet signed. We also have some reduced printing and shipping costs. If you think about how much it costs to print all these documents, I know I taught for 6 years. We were only allowed so many print jobs out of the print shop each semester, and after we exceeded that, we were no longer able to print documents. This greatly reduces the cost of ink, reduces the cost of paper, and of course the cost of time. So if you think of a common institution, you can where we're collecting signatures all the time in the HR department, in admissions. The secretary of the school is constantly receiving and sending documents, special education for student documents. But today, in this case, we'll focus on a student permission slip. So just real quick, a couple institutions that are already using Adobe EchoSign. We have the nation's largest community college system in California, cut the turnaround time on some of its contracts from 3 weeks to only a single day. We have University of Georgia. University of Georgia is using it again to approve new positions in the HR department. Huge advantage, especially considering the time it was taken and the efficiency that EchoSign has allowed them to achieve. Pepperdine University, you can see from the picture, it's built on this hilly campus. They're constantly having to use couriers to run documents around the campus. So it's no surprise that signatures could take weeks to get back. and now it was reduced to a matter of hours. So how does Adobe EchoSign work? Works very much like an email. So you address you place the addresses of the people who need to sign your document into the to field. If you need to sign the document, you can select that as a choice as well. Give the document a name, upload the document, send it out. So very email-like experience. People have been using email for years now. They know how to send and receive email. They know how to check email. It's as simple as using email. You also have this nice dashboard that shows you any documents. So once you sign into EchoSign, shows you any documents that need to be signed. They're out for signature, as well as any archived documents. We can do things like send out reminders to those who've not yet signed documents, and you can create what's called a widget as well. So a nice management type portal within EchoSign. And I've already mentioned that you can sign on any device that is web enabled. You simply receive an email, sign with your finger on touch devices or your mouse on a computer or laptop, and send it off to the requestor. As you can see, you can also forward these documents. So if you have a document, for example, that you received from a parent requesting maybe a special education meeting, you could forward that document on to the special education teacher or student advocate right from within the EchoSign environment. Once it's signed, it gets filed, and then once it's filed, you can do things like view, share the document, and run reports on the document. We also have a detailed auditing system that shows you when the document was sent, when it was created, when it was emailed, when it was viewed, and whether it's sitting in someone's inbox waiting to be signed or not. Once it gets signed, that gets added to the audit trail. Audit trail is great for attaching to those documents that may need more legal backing based on the signature. So the audit trail is very detailed and informative. It also allows you to see where the bottlenecks are being tied up. So from the reporting interface, you can run a report, see who signed the documents, who hasn't, how many documents has been signed. Very simple and easy to use interface. So let's take a look at Adobe EchoSign. So the first thing that we'll be doing is taking a look at the Word document that we'll be working with. So here's a field trip permission form. You can actually download this template from your Office templates. In this case, we're working with Adobe Middle School form. The top section needs to be filled out by the teacher for the event, and the bottom section filled out by the parent. So what we're going to do is save this document. We'll just save it as our field trip permission slip, and school field trip permission slip. There we go. Save it to our desktop, and we'll log into Adobe EchoSign. So you just simply go to echosign.adobe.com. You sign in with your username and password. In this case, we'll use my Gmail. Once you're signed into EchoSign, you're going to be presented with your EchoSign dashboard. You can see we have a recent events section, get a signature, add functions. We need to send this off to perhaps a student has not yet returned their form, their permission slip form. Real easy to do. We'll say get a document signed. We're going to address this to faculty, or to whoever the address is. In this case, I have some addresses just set up for demo purposes. In this case, darby.faculty1@gmail.com, who's the parents of the student. If I need to sign the document, I can choose to do so. We'll call this field trip permission slip, and then we simply upload the document. Now notice I'm uploading the document to EchoSign, and it is going to be in Word format. So you can either choose to do an Acrobat form, or you can simply upload the Word format into the EchoSign environment, and then we can add fields right within EchoSign. So there you can see the school field trip permission slip. I want to preview position and I want to check this checkbox, preview position signatures, add form fields. I'll click next. And when I click next, it processes the document within the EchoSign interface, and you can see it's uploaded the field trip permission slip right into the browser. And here I can start formatting the fields. So what I'd like to do is pre-fill this section up at the top. So I'm the teacher, I'm in my EchoSign account. I want to pre-fill the section up at the top and then request this information from the signer, which was Darby.faculty member. So if I want to pre-fill this, I select the participant. I'm going to say pre-fill by me. So we'll say pre-fill there. And then I can just bring in some data fields. So I need a text field here. And you can see we have different fields that we can add to it. And this will be a text field for the date and a text field for the time. So all these fields need to be pre-filled by the teacher because the parent doesn't know the location or the specifics of the field trip. And we'll also choose some transportation. Maybe make these a little bit longer and a little bit smaller. So this is all within a nice browser-based interface. And so you can build your form all within Adobe EchoSign. So then we'll add a field trip note section. What's nice about this is if you just click on the form field, in this case, double click, I'm going to choose to create a multi-line data entry field. We'll save that. So you have some properties that you can fill out with the double click. And finally, we'll add when the permission slip needs to be returned by. And any of these, if we need, for example, a time section, I can choose what kind of field type, what kind of validation or conditions or appearance I need to go into this. So you can see it can be pre-filled. I can enter a value. I can put a default value, any validation. In this case, it's a date field, and I can save that to the field. And this is a time field, so we'll say time. Save that as well. So this is almost done. So the top part again needs to be pre-filled by the teacher before being sent out, and the bottom section needs to be filled out by the person who it is being emailed to. So then I change the participant, and then I can drag the fields in for the participant. So we're selecting a role-based environment for this permission slip. And we'll say on, this is going well, and then from, and then to. So the parent needs to fill all this out. It's kind of overkill permission slip probably, but it's all right. And then in case of emergency, we'll provide emergency contact and a phone number. And remember, I can always double click on this and add some validation. So we'll say it needs to be a phone number, save that. And finally, we need the guardian signature. So we're going and placing a signature field, and we're going to place a date field. And the date field will automatically be populated based on when it was signed. So once this is all done, we're ready to send it out. Notice this section's grayed out. So I'll choose to send it out. So I'm in my EchoSign environment. You got my form all ready to go. I choose send. It starts to process the document. And before it sends it out, remember I have some pre-fill fields I need to fill out. So, depending on the field trip information, it'll change from trip to trip. I can just simply pre-fill out the requested information on each trip. So we'll say they will be visiting the Denver Zoo, and the date for this will be, notice it gives me some validation there that I have to enter it in a specific format. So we'll say 01, and they'll go on the 22nd on 2015. And the time will be, I don't know, from 3/4, we'll say it'll start at 11 a.m. So the location, Denver Zoo. Transportation will be school bus. And any notes, please bring $5 for fees. And return this by, and I needed to throw some form validation in that too. Forgot to do that, but we'll say 01 13 2015. Gives plenty of time to get all this back. So I pre-fill all this out, and now I'm ready to submit it. So I'll click to submit the form, and the form automatically gets sent via email to darbyfaculty1@gmail.com. So then what I'll do is jump in so that you can see what it looks like for the end user, and they've already received it. So they could check this on their phone, on their iPad, on their laptop, on their desktop computer. So you can see they get a nice little email with some instructions. They click to review the field trip note. You see it opens up. It's been pre-filled by the teacher, all the information that we need. So I'll say I'll give permission to my child, Abby Trudeau, in room 203. I probably maybe even wanted to pre-fill that out because oftentimes the parent doesn't know what room their kid's in. But we'll say trip to the Denver Zoo on 01 to say 5 p.m. and the emergency contact will be their mom. I'll say 555. And then they simply need to sign. This is where the magic happens. So if I choose click to sign, I can simply type my name here. In this case, we'll say Dory Trudeau signed it, the mom of the student. It generates an e-signature. It's perfectly legal in United States, all 50 states, as much as most of the civilized world. But if you don't want to allow that, we'll say Dory Trudeau needs to sign this, but she'd like to draw her own signature. So then they can come in, and I'm doing this with my mouse here. You can imagine if I was doing this on my mobile phone, it would be nice and neat, and I can apply the signature. The end user does not need an EchoSign account. I simply check their email, much as I've done here. And then I choose to e-sign the document. It gets processed and sent back to the end user. So let's see, as the teacher now, I'll go into my home screen, and right under my recent events, I see that my field trip permission slip was e-signed by Dory Trudeau. And if I click on that, it'll show me the document, and with the signature and any of the details that were reported inside the document. And I can also view what's called the audit report. And this is going to tell me when it was created, when it was emailed to the recipient, when it was viewed by the recipient, when it was e-signed, and finally when it was sent back. And not only do I get a copy of this, but so does mom or dad, whoever signed the document. So if I jumped back over into mom and dad's screen here, you can see in my inbox, you will see that I can view a in copy of the document. So again, this is mom and dad checking their email. After they have e-signed it, they get sent a copy of the field trip report, and they can also download an audit report as well. And they don't have to include the audit report. In fact, I don't include the audit report when I send it out to the end user, but it's something that you can include so that they get both an audit report and the permission slip. So real quick, some other things that we can do is when we choose to get a document signed. Last time I only sent it to a single recipient, but you can enter as many email addresses as you wish here. So I could put 20 email addresses here and email an entire class. And what's nice about this is you can choose to have this signed in the order entered. So if I say, for example, Darby faculty member 1, and then after they sign it, Darby faculty member 2 has to sign it. What happens in this case is it's routed first to faculty member 1, they fill it out, and then it's routed to the next person after I've received it. But in the case of like a field trip letter, you may not want to have a bottleneck where one parent has not yet received it, so it won't go down the chain of emails. So you can choose any order instead, and then it gets blasted out to everybody. Doesn't matter when they sign it, they'll jump back to you in the order that they receive it and signed it in. What is nice about the order entered, though, is imagine you have a student, a special education student, whose parents need to sign some paperwork, and then the teacher needs to sign it, and the principal needs to sign it, maybe a student advocate needs to sign it. you can set it up in that workflow to where first it's routed to the parents, then to the teacher, then to the principal, and then finally to, say, the student advocate. And all that's taken care of, all that routing is taken care of by Adobe EchoSign. Some other things that you can do, in this case, this is probably what I would do for the field trip form, is you could do what's called a mega sign. And a mega sign sends to many people at once, and you can import a CSV file, like an Excel file with everybody's email addresses, into at the EchoSign environment and blast this out to the entire classroom and their parents. So that makes it much easier to deal with for large documents that have a large amount of recipients. So I know we have a K-12 school down in Texas that uses this to collect, their HR department to collect, say, 1,000 documents, and I think it was around 900 to 1,000 documents from people who are not drawing a paycheck from the summer. So they're not full-time employees, but they have to receive this email, this letter back, the HR department does, or they have to pay them throughout the summer. So it's very important that they get this signed document back, and they'll blast out that document using a mega sign. So that is how Adobe EchoSign works. And of course, under the Manage section, I can come in, and if I need to pull this out, you can see there's the assigned document for the field trip, and then I can choose to share the document, send out a reminder. So if I send say a mega sign out, I can program a reminder out to go at a specific time, so that only those people who have not yet signed it receive a gentle reminder to send their permission slips in. And notice I can also send it every day or every week for a specific time until I have all the documents back. And people, if you think of how busy people are today, a parent might be at a grocery store and they receive the email on their phone, they can fill out the permission slip right there. Or if they're at a baseball practice or softball practice, gymnastics practice, waiting on their child, they can fill out the permission slips there as well. And you know that mom and dad is getting it. It's not, the form's not crumpled up in the backpack somewhere. And then, of course, you can see a history of the document, which gets appended to the audit report and any notes associated with it. So, great way to manage, anything that needs to be signed, and workflows of things that need to be signed, like the special ed student with the routing involved. So that is Adobe EchoSign and how to process a document to get signed. So I hope that was helpful. Again, this is Scott Trudeau with the Adobe Education Solutions Consulting Team.